Welcome to the first look, and I'm going to take a look at something really interesting. This is Fosi Audio. Now, if you do not know this brand, they are quite well known to make quite affordable speaker amplifiers, at least for me. Now, I do not know they actually make quite some headphone amplifiers. I do know they make, but I never actually went to look at it. I do know their speaker amplifiers are pretty good for its price, and today I'm going to look at the PH05. Now, this is quite an affordable set. The exact price, I put it on the screen here to just let you know. Now, this is provided to me by Fosi Audio, and they say, give an honest review for it, and, first impression again, honest review for you. So let's take a look at this device. I'm actually interested in it for a few reasons. Now, what does this device do, right? Let me unbox it and show you and explain to you then. It's obviously a headphone amplifier. So inside the box is very simple. Some manual. The device itself, let me pull it up. And then a very simple power adapter itself. Now the power adapter, let's take a look. This is a 12-volt 1 amp adapter. So this is the same kind of power adapter that you can use to power something, say, let me think. Like my Hugo TT and my M17. Same type of power adapter. Now for power adapters, you can always use higher ampere adapters, but you must ensure that the voltage is correct. So this is a 12-volt 1 amp. You can use anything from a 12-volt 1 amp to a 12-volt 3 amp to do it. No problems. They also gave cables. There is one cable here, but I won't need the cable. I'll use some of my own cables for this. So I just leave it in the box, and that's about it. Now this is the Fosi Audio, and it is a headphone amplifier. So it has a main volume knob, and then you have a power up and power down, and then you can control individual amplification from all the different channels. Now I don't know the specs of this device. When I find it, I'll put the spec on the screen here. I only know that it is a multi headphone output device. So when I first got this invite, I was wondering what the heck am I going to do with it. But as a reviewer, one of the most common thing is to compare earphones between each other or headphones with each other. Now this is a single-ended. It is not so common, I would say, as for my headphones, because most of my headphones are more of the higher end ones, so it's balanced. But for IEMs, even at high end, I mean the U4S gives a single-ended cable, so I think this will be useful for comparing my IEM. So I thought that, well, they offer me, let me keep it and try it out. I mean, if it sounds good, I will actually use it as part of my review kit. I mean, it looks really nice, right? You can't deny the fact it looks cool. The construction is so good. Look at this, pure metal construction in every single way. And it's a powered device, so I'm pretty sure it shouldn't sound too bad, right? It shouldn't sound too bad. Okay, so without wasting time, let's connect it up. Now, I'm not going to use this adapter. I have an adapter plugged into my Hugo TT. I'm going to pull it out now and then plug it in. So I managed to plug it in, it does work as expected. So you see, not too sure. I think orange should be mute, blue should be go, and then off. Pretty easy, right? So my M17 couldn't be used just now. It wasn't charged. So I shall use my, M9 Plus here. Now obviously this is a really, really, really good depth. I'm going to use a very cheap device to connect with it. But I want to see what's the difference between this, and we'll see. So for the earphones, it's something that I reviewed very recently. This is the nice HCK IEMs. This is I think the F1 Pro. And I just want to try it out and hear what's the difference, right? So at first I tried my nice HCK, it doesn't work. This is a sensitive IEM, really, really sensitive, and it sounds very hissy, so no go. So I'm going to try another IEM now. This time I'm going to use the Maestro SE, very insensitive IEM, and let's take a listen, see whether it sounds great. Okay, my first test with IEMs. And okay, I just want to say something. Port 1 is, I think, faulty. It has a lot of noise, like super lot of noise. Port 2, 3, 4, 5 is okay. My IEMs, this is the Maestro SE, one of the most insensitive IEMs you can get. When I plug into port 2, 3, 4, 5, you can just, I mean, if you focus yourself, I mean, my room here has like a 30 decibel ambient noise, so it's very, very quiet. with these ports here, I can just barely make out a light hiss, while port 1 just goes hissy like crazy. So that's one thing. So the ports wise, the amplification has a very slight hiss. Now this hiss may be due to power supply, maybe due to other things, not too sure. Maybe I got time, I will explore. But you know, I'm plugging into a power filter because of all my equipment here. So there is still this very slight hiss in the amp itself. Most likely, maybe, you know, getting a better power supply may fix this problem. I'm not too sure. Or maybe it's just the bass hiss. Now, the next thing I have to say is that for this amp, I believe it's a multi-stage amp or something along the line, because this knob and this knob here doesn't affect the hiss itself. So if I go all the way down and I go all the way up, I will still hear that hiss. That very, 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 very soft hiss on this device. Now, if I will use the nice HDK, which is a lot more sensitive, this one, right? I can hear the hiss, and the hiss doesn't care about the volume of the knobs. So full power on, full power on, full power off, full power off. The hiss is the same, except when you do full, there's a new hiss. There's an additional like electrical funky hiss there is for this device. But if not, the hiss is generally not affected by the knobs. I mean, if you go 3/4 for both, it will be ultra loud. No IEMs can take it. Metro SE will blow your ears, and well, it doesn't change the hiss if you just don't play any songs through it. So that's the thing. So port 1 is faulty, at least for mine. Port 2, 3, 4, 5 is personally okay to be used. You still get the general sound signature of this amp. And the sound signature of this amp is, there is no signature. It sounds kinda like, I don't know, transparent. It is clear, clean. I tried and compared. So, no, this is depth, so it can go on line out mode and non-line out mode. So when I go on non-line out mode, the sound is different. When I go on line out mode, the sound is different. On line out mode, it is very clear, very clean, extremely punchy, and really, really, really clear. I mean, I don't know, maybe I would like this a lot more than many other amps. It's like really clean and clear. Reminds me of the A70 Pro to a certain extent. Now, in its non-line out mode, which is its headphone out mode, I do get the exact same signature as if I was to plug this earphone into the player itself. This slightly more warmish signature, a bit more relaxed signature. When I plug in directly into the DAC, I get that signature itself. And if I was to line out to this amp, I play it, I also get the same signature. It doesn't enhance the sound in any way other than adding the very, 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 very soft hiss. And when the song is playing, you can't hear the hiss at all. But the difference is, I cannot find it, at least not in this short time here. I mean, I spent the last 30 minutes, you probably didn't see it, it's off screen. I spent the last 30 minutes listening to it, I cannot spot the difference. It sounds like the same. So it's transparent, except the hiss. Now, this of course means that with IEMs, not the greatest, probably can't be used with IEMs to compare each other. Maybe port 2, 3, 4, 5 can still be done with insensitive IEMs, but with sensitive IEMs, probably not. But you know what? Let us try with headphones. Now, headphones is a little bit tricky because, as I say, single-ended headphones are not that common. Wait a minute, let me think. So this is the Atrium Open, and it mainly needs more like voltage rather than power. So let's have a listen here. So with the Atrium Open, I find that the sound signature is actually pretty okay. I mean, the difference between this guy, this guy here, the Fosi, which is, hey. The only difference between this guy here, the Fosi PH05, versus something like the Mesh Kobo, is that the Mesh Kobo is a little bit more exciting, at least in single-ended mode. I mean, I can't try balance, it's not fair. But really, it's just a little bit less exciting. Just a little bit less exciting. That's about it. I really cannot hear a difference in sound if you are like 1, and connect. Minimal difference. And not only that, I think with the Atrium Open, there is no hiss. I can turn the knob like crazy, there is no hiss. So it means that this guy here is really meant for headphones or very, very insensitive IEMs. And you plug it in, it actually sounds pretty decent. It is a very transparent sounding amp, I have to say the truth. I mean, comparing this and that, and the difference is so small considering the price. If you are driving just headphones, maybe that's a good deal. Maybe, let me think again. Maybe this, I don't know. a bit more energetic, a little bit more clarity. I'm not too sure. It may just be because, you know, psychoacoustics, because I'm looking at the device itself, and I just cannot imagine that this is such a good deal if you are driving very insensitive headphones like the Atrium Open here. Now the sad thing is I don't really have many single-ended headphones. Give me a moment to think, see whether I have something else I can plug in to try. So what I have here is something I managed to adapt, and ultimately plug in another headphone into this jack, right? And this headphone here is the DCA Stealth. Now this time I'm going to try powering two headphones together and hear if there's a difference. I will try to plug out the headphone and see whether it destroys the sound or anything, but I'm excited to try. So I tried with the DCA Stealth. Now in terms of sound quality, I think it's pretty good, but in terms of power, it is pretty low. I mean, it distorts really quickly. When I was listening it to just slightly above average, I think it sounds like a 90 dB plus with the DCA Stealth. It starts distorting quite a bit. So I think there is a limit to how much power this guy can output here. Now I did notice that plugging in and out another headphone doesn't change the amount of power. When I hear the distortion, plugging out the other headphone doesn't change it. Plugging in the other headphone doesn't change it. And when I reduce it to slightly below distortion level, plugging out the headphone also doesn't change it, you know. It doesn't matter how many headphones you plug in. I think each of them is an amp of its own. And I did notice that these are amplifiers, because when I put it to this amount here and then I jack the volume up, it distorts. But let's say if I reverse this and I increase this volume and reduce this, it also distorts. The sound, I think the sound feels slightly different. Now I don't have much time. I already spent like an hour plus doing this video trying to test this out. But I would say I think there is a sound difference between powering this up and powering that. Slight difference itself, not too sure. I mean, when I got time, maybe I can try more. Now in terms of absolute power, now that I know that it distorts at a certain volume, let me try and see whether this produces more power or the mesh combo produces more power. So I've tried the distortion power, the amount of power this guy comes out and puts out, you know, versus the mesh combo is about the same. It distorts at, I feel, roughly the same volume. At least when I hear it, it feels really similar. Not too sure which is exactly higher, but I'm sure it's in the ballpark of 3 to 5 decibel. I mean, there is a lot of decibels, but it's in the ballpark of that region. I mean, I'm not measuring today, but I'm sure that the distortion of this guy and this guy is very similar. I mean, both of them are not like the Emblem, which does produce significantly more power. And like say the Burson here, which will never distort no matter how crazy high you go until you distort the headphones. This guy is like maybe outputting a few hundred milliwatts of power per channel across all channels itself, which is a good thing. At least today I verified that plugging two headphones don't change the power characteristics of the amplifier output. It seems that the amplifier output is the limitation, not so much of total power draw or any such things. So overall, how do I think, you know, about this? What do I think about this amp, right? I think that, so overall, what do I think about this amp here? Now, this is a very interesting amp, this Fosi PH05. I think this is an amp that can power most of your normal headphones. I mean, if you're using semi-sensitive types, normal headphones, I think it'll be fine. Even, you know, just now, when I was listening to headphones from ZMFs, I think ZMF headphones are fine with this also. They don't need that much power, they don't need that much voltage. It sounds pretty good on here. But if you use power-hungry headphones such as the Stealth, Susvara, probably not. You know, this guy will probably tap out before you power the headphones loud enough and be happy about it. I mean, some guys do listen very loud. I listen quite soft. I don't hear the distortion until I push it a little bit above average, but even then I feel that it's not like ultra loud. I think I can probably hear one song out of that volume. Not the best thing, but I can definitely do it. You know, wow, this guy here definitely can't do that because, you know, it will run out of power. You know, it will just distort like crazy. But in normal listening volumes, I'm pretty okay with it for the DCA Stealth. For the Atrium Open, I can go really, really loud and I still find that there is no distortion at all. So this is not a voltage limited device. It's mainly limited by the power itself. And As I said just now, when I plug in multiple headphones, like plug in 2 headphones, there's no difference. I can tweak the volumes here. It doesn't change the other channels output or change the other channels, I would say, characteristics at all. I was trying 2 headphones, I plug in, plug out, plug in, plug out. It doesn't even change it, even though the other headphone is like powered, unpowered, powered, unpowered. There's no flux, no pop, no clicks. And changing the volume of the other headphone also doesn't affect the headphone that you're listening, the whole experience of it. So I'm pretty sure there's multiple amplifier inside here, and these are not resistor knobs, these are probably like amplifier knobs here, and they are providing certain amount of power. As I said again, if I plug 1 headphone in versus plug 2 headphone in, the amount of volume I can get out of the Stealth before distortion is the same. So I'm pretty sure that it's quite delinked with each other. So I can say that if you are just running a very simple setup listening to headphones, this is actually a very transparent amp. It is very transparent, as I said earlier. If I use IEMs and listen to it, it is very clear, very punchy. In fact, I think this is actually really, really good for ultra insensitive IEMs. Things like probably the subtonic storm may actually sound decent. I'm guessing. Don't bite me for it. But I think something like subtonic storm will sound pretty good on it. Personally, I don't really know whether this is a great device or not, because it does work out for some situation. But okay, maybe before I end this review, let me waste a little bit more time. I already wasted, as I said, 1 hour on this. But let me try one last thing. Let me run 2 Fat Freak IEMs together and see what happens, right? So what I have here is a mess of wires, but it's thousands of dollars of IEMs. This is the Scarlett Mini. This is the Maestro SE, the second one. And then lastly, I have the Noble Onyx at the end. I'm using port 2, 3, 4, and let's take a listen. Okay, you can see I'm having way too much fun in this video here. This is 4 IEMs, Scarlett Mini, Maestro SE, Noble Onyx, and nice HCK F1 Pro, right? All connected to the PH05. Now the first port, no go, very noisy. The rest of the 4 ports, okay. And I have tried, okay, so how can you tell how much noise this is? Is that this guy here has a power off. So it goes on some off mode and it's dead silent. And when you on it, you can hear that for the nice HCK, it will kick in with the hissing sound. Quite loud, I would say, as it's not loud till is obstructive for the purpose of listening music when the music is playing normally. I'm guessing the hiss is actually quite low. I mean, my room is like 30 decibel, hiss maybe like another 5 decibels kind of thing. Not too sure, can't measure, there's another thing, right? And then if I was to do this for my Noble Onyx, you can hear it, but it's very soft. Probably not intrusive. Maybe it will affect the general dynamics and darkness between the instruments, because especially for Onyx, the separation is actually quite good, even though it has a lot of atmosphere. So it may affect your clarity if you are using a very good IEM. The separation may fail or be a bit like hazy, just a touch. But for the Maestro SE and the Scarlett Mini, well, I press this button a few times, I can't hear the difference. The hiss doesn't kick in. If it kicks in, it's like click, and then it's very, very soft. I think that if you're using insensitive IEMs, you can use this as a comparing device. If you're using a little bit more sensitive, as long as it's not more sensitive than the Onyx, is okay. The nice HCK is ultra sensitive. You can look at the volume here. I mean, you may not be able to see it. In fact, let me zoom in a bit. You can see the positions of the volume knobs. This is the Scarlett Mini, this is the Maestro SE. When I try to hear it at the same volume, these are the knobs. It is like, 2 o'clock. And then for the Onyx, it's like, 10 or 11. And then for the nice HCK, it's very similar to the Onyx, but for some reason, I probably guess is that the impedance is lower. And so, it's actually causing a lot of hiss. And you can see that this is pointing at also the 10 o'clock position, 10 to 11 position itself. So overall, I'll say as this device here, it works for headphones that are more driven by voltage, such as the ZMF headphones, or for IEMs that are insensitive. And for sensitive IEMs, as long as it's not ultra sensitive, it'll probably be okay too. Now, this is definitely a good device overall, I think, for its price point. You can use it for comparison. It is pretty fun, and everything is pretty good. Now, the only thing is the port 1 is bad. I mean, port 1 is so bad that let me just hear one more time. Port 1 is so bad that even the Scarlett Mini picks it up. I mean, the Scarlett Mini is ultra insensitive. It does pick up the hiss on port 1. So port 1 cannot be used. Port 2, 3, 4, 5 for me can be used. So 4 ports can be used, and you can actually use it to compare. And I'm pretty sure it's independent amplification. It works out pretty nicely. And if you are into this kind of party of listening IEMs together, or maybe you want a device to just compare your headphones as long as it's not like planar magnetics, I think it'd be pretty good of a device itself. And that's really about it. This is the Foci PH05 multi-headphone amplifier. Overall, I don't think this is a device for everyone, but you know, if you fall within the category that needs it or can use it, such as people who want to, for some reason, compare headphones, people who just use purely insensitive headphones, but they are not like planar magnetic, so they don't draw that much power, something like the ZMF high resistance type of headphone, or you're using insensitive IEMs, it's pretty good. It does narrow your power range of headphones and earphones you can use, but if your headphones and earphones fall within those range, this device does power it perfectly. It is very transparent. I cannot hear much difference between this and the, let's say, my Mesh Kobo. If there is differences, it's mainly, as I say, maybe in the liveliness of sound, maybe a little bit on the sound stage, but the dynamics of this is like fantastic. No complaints on that, really. And it is transparent. As I said again, if I was to use my Shuanling M9 Plus, the mode is outputting the sound will actually affect the sound of the amplifier itself. And that's about it. I hope you enjoy this really long review, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.